Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for having me this morning, and thank you for the invitation from SDSN. Very interesting speech by the fellow speaker. So my session is talking about, I've got 3 goals allocated. Right. So first of all, my company's name is Alaya Consulting, but what is Alaya? Alaya is actually coming from Buddhism. It's this eighth consciousness. This consciousness forms the seeds of future karma. So our vision is actually similar. We plant the seeds of sustainability into the corporate world. That's what we are doing. We founded 4 years ago. In 1 year, we became the GRI partner. And in 2016, we started doing our in-house ESG research, and we are still doing that. And I'm going to share some of the findings in some of the slides. And up to now, we finished and processing over 100 ESG reports. I agree very much about what Prenton said. There's still a long way to go in terms of corporate disclosure on SDG, and I'll share some of the findings later. In September, we organized the Hong Kong ESG Reporting Awards. This is the event day. Basically, we believe, we want to advocate the best practice of ESG disclosure. Hopefully, one day in the near future, we could, reach the disclosure levels advocated by Professor Low, Prentice, and really meet the expectation from the different stakeholders. These are our clients, listed company, non-listed company, big and small. This is the research that I'm talking about. One of the question, the research, we studied 200 listed companies in Hong Kong, the largest 200 in terms of market capitalization. And this year, we found that actually companies reporting against SDG, the percentage actually increased from 6% last year to 18% this year. So it's encouraging, but it's not a big increment. And there are some issues too. They are just doing the first step. They are just really aligning their ESG performance with SDG goals, but there's still a long way to go. And the top 3 SDG aligned in these reports. On the right-hand side is goal number 8, 12, 13, and I'm going to talk more in-depth on number 8 and number 12. Just one more point to note is investors, especially institutional investors, are getting really concerned about SDG. They're very interested about how listed companies are doing in terms of reporting against SDGs. But today we are, going to mention about some of the challenges, right, when bridging business and sustainability. So here are the challenges. There's a lot of the awareness level is there's a long way to go, especially for the boss of the listed companies, the executive director, the board. For people doing the job, the company secretaries, the environmental officer, they have good awareness, but the business or the decision maker who are paying the money, they don't know what is about sustainability or ESG or SD, not to mention SDG. There are a lot of alphabets going on. I'm going to touch on a little bit later. And another challenge is what's in it for me. So what is the revenue is going to increase in a short time frame, but I'm sure you know sustainability is a long-term thing. We cannot pump up the revenue next year just by doing CSR or ESG or sustainability. It's more a long-term thing. And that's exactly the reason why we need to show the value to the decision makers, the board of directors, that CSR, ESG can create value. It's not only a compliance exercise, it's a value creation initiative. In general, there's also lack of knowledge. All of you sitting here have certain level of understanding. It's fantastic that you sacrifice the morning's time to come here and understand more about the SDG. But in general, when you talk to people, especially not in the industry, not people working in ESG or CSR, they have no idea what is SDG. They understand what is what's going on in the property price, the stock prices, but SDG is like is something in another planet. Lack of leadership commitment, I think, is similar to lack of awareness. We need more commitment from the board of directors. It's really, the change must be coming from the top. People like me, talking to the middle manager or the CFO. Yeah, they receptive about the idea of SDG, but they don't really, they have to ask for the board approval for more budget, and they are not sure whether the boss will like the idea of SDG. So we need more promotion to the board of directors, to the business leaders. And I like to mention an example that one of the major property developers, which is now managed by the third generation, they are really changing the concept of sustainability. They treat sustainability no longer a cost center, but a profit center. So this is how change is going to happen, and I hope more companies like this property developer will treat sustainability, SDG, as a profit maker. And I understand that some of the students here will found their own business. So this is also a good timing to think about what SDG you want to achieve, because you may have a social mission to accomplish, but also it's great timing to think about SDG. So there's a lot of alphabets, right? ESG, SDG, GRI, IIRC, and SASB. And there's a long list. It's a great news that I read some articles saying, the leading reporting standards are actually working together now to have a better alignment, because all these things are similar but also different. So in 2 years' time, they're going to have worked together and for a more common standard. So these are the slide that I'm showing here is an article prepared by us, bridging the SDG goals with the Hong Kong Stock Exchange ESG guideline. So they are all linked together, just show you the concept. So I'm talking about goal 8, number 8, number 12, and number 17, right? So like I said earlier, we did the research, right? And these are the three, number 8 and number 12 actually are the top 3 most aligned SDG goals. But like Prantin said, the reporting practice still have a long way to go, because most of the listed companies, that 18%, actually just maybe like nearly 40 companies. They just made a simple alignment with the SDG goals, with no alignment with their company strategy and with no targets. So, yeah, it's a good first step, but listed companies have to do more in going forward. So here comes a few slides with a lot of words, so bear with me. Goal number 12 is really, I should talk about 8 first. It's really about, labor rights, equal pay, and youth employment, also sustainable growth. We need to concern about economic growth, but it's not just about GDP growth, but you have to decouple economic growth with environmental degradation, right? And in the middle, we've got some statistics showing there's some inequalities in gender and also for youth employment. There's also some statistics. I'm not sure if you are concerned right now, if you are young people. So the right-hand side, the SDG goals, I'm not sure if anyone have read the SDG. Under each goals, they have targets. So for SDG 8, for example, 8.4 is talking about improving on the resources efficiency in consumption and production, etc. Yeah, so it's more detailed. It's very detailed and in some cases could be quite difficult to implement on a corporate level because these SDG goals is really national levels. Goal number 12 is really about energy saving, minimizing food waste, etc. And also sustainability reporting, because if you have done a lot of good stuff, saving energy, minimizing food waste, then you have to report, right? You have to disclose, you have to let everybody know. And you have to set target, right? On the left-hand side, you see some of the findings from our research. The top 200 listed company, the percentage of setting targets are really, really low. So there's still a long way to go. And also waste management. Not every one of them are, reporting the KPI. So I'll leave the details. Talk about 17. Number 17 actually is what we are doing today. It's a multi-stakeholder event. We've got academia, we've got NGO, we've got environmental scientists. So it's fantastic, this kind of event. The example that I want to cite here is Panda Green. Panda Green is one of our clients. They are the largest solar power operator in China. They have been partnering with UNDP, bringing solar power to the One Belt One Road countries. And they are the perfect example of this goal 17 because the renewable energy sector in China is still really developing, and they set up a PGO, which is Photovoltaic Green Ecosystem Organization, which have different stakeholder group in it. They have their own peers, they have suppliers, they have government, they have regulator, investor, etc. So they set this up to promote and develop the solar power industry. And SDG requires a lot of investments. I just got this statistic from on the web. So it's not without cost. So what's the next step? There's a lot of resources online and it's free. If anyone interested in seriously taking a look at how to meet or how to satisfy the requirement of SDG, this is a fantastic document. It's 300 pages. So you can set up your own goals and targets and striving towards SDG. And this is a fantastic infographic that I'd like to share with you. It's from SDG Compass. Okay, say if you have a business, you want to striving towards, you want to reach some SDG goals and don't know which goal you should be striving for. This kind of value chain analysis would be a fantastic starting point. I'm using the SDG goal that I'm talking about as an example. For SDG 8, you can identify your own operation. For example, whether the living wage of all employees at all sites are actually fair and increase the positive impact. And if you're a manufacturer, make sure that the product end of life is improving and by enhancing the reusability, recyclability, etc. So from my standpoint, I like the Goal 17 very much. I work with the company work with a lot of different partners, reporting organizations, media, Hong Kong SEC, business community, etc. So we will continue to do that. And I think if there is one message that you should remember is, SDG or ESG sustainability requires, a lot of different stakeholders working together. Otherwise, it's difficult to achieve all these global goals. Well, that's really it. That's all for myself. Thank you very much.